The Aspen soldiers charge forward, shouting that they will show the pride of the Grey Dogs and fight to the death. One of the Grey Dogs swings his mace at Odin, but Odin effortlessly blocks it with his bare hand. He raises his massive fist and declares that he will answer the soldier's courage by sending him to the Lord's side. In the next instant, Odin's fist crashes into the Grey Dog's head, the sound of bone shattering echoing sharply. The soldier collapses lifelessly, his skull crushed in one brutal blow. Andrew's eyes widen in shock. He can't believe what he just witnessed. Odin blocked a weapon barehanded and didn't even get a scratch. He wonders what kind of muscles Odin has to pull that off. Seeing Odin's power, Pin blushes slightly and remarks with a teasing grin that this guy actually looks kind of useful. Rem, unwilling to be outdone, charges forward with his axe raised high. He blocks an incoming attack, but before he can retaliate, Ragna jumps in, swinging his sword and striking the Grey Dog soldier in the stomach, sending him flying and nearly cutting Rem in the process. With a furious tone, Rem yells at Ragna, calling him a mad, lazy bastard and demanding to know if he was trying to slice him up too. Ragna, calm and indifferent as ever, responds that it's a shame Rem dodged it. Another Grey Dog soldier rushes at Ragna from behind, screaming with desperate courage. Ragna sidesteps effortlessly and pierces the man's throat in one clean motion. Blood bursts from the soldier's neck, but Ragna's cold expression remains unchanged. As Rem mutters under his breath, another soldier charges in from behind. He swiftly turns and decapitates the attacker, then remarks that one day he'll hack Ragna to pieces. Ragna, still provoking him, questions why it has to be one day and not today, asking if Rem is scared. The tension between them rises again, even amid the chaos. Rem, on the verge of erupting, tells Odin to inform his god that he'll be sending him a friend soon. Odin simply smiles and calmly replies that the Lord says he doesn't need friends like that. From behind, Kreis, clearly fed up, asks if they're seriously going to fight now. One of the Grey Dog soldiers, noticing the disarray, shouts for his comrades to encircle the mad squad while they're split apart from within. But before they can execute their plan, someone attacks a soldier from behind. It's Jackson, moving like a shadow, swiftly cutting through the Grey Dog soldiers before they even realize what's happening. Looking at his quarreling squad mates, Jackson mutters the word idiots under his breath. Encred says there's no need to kill them all, as most are already wrecked, just enough to clear the way. But before he can finish his sentence, a sharp glint of light flashes from the bushes, and Jackson immediately notices it. Someone fires an arrow toward Encred, but Jackson acts swiftly, intercepting it in an instant. The arrow clatters uselessly to the ground. Encred looks around and asks if they are here. Jackson confirms that it's the Hawk's Talon. Picking up the arrow, Rem asks Encred if he knows the difference between a sniper and a hunter. Encred looks at him questioningly. Rem continues, saying hunters are way more fun than snipers, especially axe hunting. It's awesome. Encred asks what he's trying to say. Holding the arrow between his fingers, Rem smirks and says that if you get a gift, you should give one back. Without another word, he dashes off toward the cliffs in the direction of the Hawk's Talon, moving with wild, reckless energy. Pin watches him go and exclaims in surprise, asking if he's even allowed to act alone like that. Kreis, used to this kind of antics, says Rem isn't someone who dies easily, so it's best to leave him be. Andrew turns to Encred and suggests they retreat for now, pointing out that the enemy's main force might pursue them from that side. If they stay put, they'll become easy targets for the Hawk's Talon. Encred agrees and says they'll blind the Hawk's Talon the best way they can, and then escape. The scene shifts to the enemy camp, now engulfed in flames. As the mad squad retreats through the chaos, Encred remarks that this seems to have become a habit. Pin, running beside him, tilts her head in confusion, not understanding what he means. High above the cliff, the Hawk's Talon's vision is restricted by thick smoke. One of his soldiers scans the area and notes that it seems the Mad Squad has slipped out of sight. He asks what they should do next. The Hawk's Talon, calm but visibly irritated, responds that they'll pursue them. Meanwhile, down below, the Mad Squad carefully climbs the cliffs, navigating narrow ledges and rocky paths. Encred silently reflects that Rem acting alone wasn't part of the plan, but it's not necessarily a bad move. Rem is targeting the Hawk's Talon, and in return, the Hawk's Talon is targeting them. They'll serve as bait to draw the Hawk's attention. The terrain was chosen deliberately, rough, steep, and with limited visibility. There's a slim chance the Hawk can get a clear shot at them, since they picked a terrain that's hard to shoot in. While climbing, Ragna finds a small hollow in the rock and immediately slips into it, declaring the spot comfortable before attempting to sleep. Encred, in his thoughts, speaks to Rem, telling him to hunt to his heart's content. Meanwhile, Rem moves swiftly through the forested slopes in pursuit of the Hawk's Talon, thinking to himself that this brings back memories. Back in the day, he was the hunter his tribe had high hopes for, an exceptional hunter. He knows he can't return to that time now that he's left, but he can still summon those memories for a moment. Rem creeps silently from behind the Hawk's Talon's group. As he watches the enemy's back, he thinks that from the moment they first met, the Hawk Brat was his prey. Up ahead, one of the guards comments that the Mad Squad members are escaping along awkward angles, making pursuit difficult. The Hawk's Talon replies that it's just stalling. He won't lose his target. The soldier begins to praise the hawk, but before he can finish his sentence, Rem's axe flashes and the guard's head is severed cleanly. Another soldier screams ambush and shouts for everyone to scatter as Rem steps into view, gripping his twin axes. Watching the enemy retreat, his excitement builds. He dashes forward, moving with the speed and precision of a seasoned predator, hunting down the fleeing soldiers one by one. Each falls swiftly, the forest echoing with the sound of steel and collapsing bodies. Hearing the cries of his dying soldiers, the Hawk's Talon turns, wondering how the barbarian got there. There was no sign of him at all. But before he can process the threat, Rem is already behind him, axe raised and ready to strike. Sensing Rem from behind, the hawk turns and fires an arrow toward him, declaring that hunting is always on his side. Rem swings his axe mid-stride, splitting the arrow in two before it reaches him. In the same motion, he hurls the axe, and the blade buries deep into the Hawk's Talon's shoulder. The archer crashes to the ground, screaming in pain. Rem approaches slowly, eyes gleaming with predatory intent. He tells the hawk to stop whining and use more strength. Looming over him, Rem raises the arrow from earlier and says that a rare hunt shouldn't end so boringly. The hawk grits his teeth, rage mixing with helplessness. But before he can act, Rem plunges the arrow into his throat with brutal force. Looking down at the corpse, Rem clicks his tongue and says that was lame to the end. Pulling his axe free from the body, he mutters that he had hoped the Hawk's Talon would at least suffer longer, long enough to let him brush up on his rusty hunting skills. Then he pauses, suddenly realizing he's starting to act exactly like the captain. After being around him for so long, he must have picked up some of his habits without even noticing. The captain accepts that he lacks talent, yet always thinks about how to move on to the next step. If Rem can adopt that same accepting and reconciling attitude, he can make it his own. He stops and reflects silently on the realization. As he begins to walk again, he admits he doesn't know how meaningful this choice will be. Maybe nothing will change. But with a determined look, he decides he'll give it a try. Just like the lieutenant he's watched do time and time again.